So, what is God's plan for you? I mean, you individually. Does God have a purpose for you? I know we all believe that He has a life purpose, but does He have an individual, specific purpose for you? So, I clearly believe He does. I think that God put goals on our hearts, deep down desires that are actually part of His calling for our lives. So there's a quote from Rumi, if you've ever read it, about the wound is where the light enters. The wounds of our life, that early on trauma, is actually where God's light, God's passion, God's spirit in you can find its way out to help people. So in my own personal journey, I'll tell a story here. As a kid, I always felt like my family was off in different rooms doing different things a lot. You know, we had a good nuclear family. From the outside, it looked great. There's a lot of really good positives to it for sure. Not downplaying that at all. But I didn't sense a lot of cohesion in my family. What I loved so much was when my extended family would come for 4th of July and I get to stock the drink cooler and get it all ready for people coming to our property. I'd help mow the lawn to get it all ready. I'd hook up my dad had this little brown rusty trailer that we could hook up to the lawnmower. And I would get that all hooked up ahead of time because I was gonna take kids on little hay rides without the hay, just down our street and just around our property. And so I loved this. I loved the anticipation of waiting for a family to come. And yet I had this deep wound from the time that I was really little that it was almost this motherly wound of feeling rejection. And none of this is intentional. You know, we don't mean to cause these things for our kids, but sometimes it happens either way. And I wanted my family so deeply to be connected. I loved the times that we sat around laughing, and it didn't really happen that often, honestly. But when it did, it was amazing because it was filling this need that was this wound in me because it wasn't fulfilled a lot. I remember a really good time when me and my sister were probably, 12, 13, I don't know what age we were, but we sat around the table with our parents and we just learned how to play poker, a really, kid version of it. And we played penny poker. And my mom joined in and my dad joined in. And it was really rare for us all to actually have an activity together. And that was so much fun. We would just spend the time laughing. So this was a deep desire and a deep wound at the same time. Okay, so fast forward into my adult life, I had a breakdown, literally collapsed in my driveway when I was 30 years old. Lots of stresses had piled up in my life. We lived in a one-room house off-grid. We built it by hand. We tried to do everything sustainable, but it just was not working for us at that point because of a lot of factors that I won't go into right now. But in that breakdown, I actually I got this glimpse of who I could be and these visions or dreams, whatever you want to call them, of what I really wanted in my life. And what I really wanted, I realized in this breakdown, I wanted to bring families together. I wanted my family to be together. Above all else, I really wanted us to be able to create this vision together, and I hearkened back in an unexpected way to all of this stuff that I loved in my childhood, but was also at the same time my wound. So do you see how this pieces together? Me and my husband realized after that breakdown, we started discussing, what do we really want out of our lives? What's our purpose together? And separately, we came to the conclusion that we wanted to build these little micro communities. That's what we called them sustainable families coming together, enjoying, sitting around the bonfire. We got our fire pit right out there, and being together and singing together and eating together. And we saw how our visions aligned really, really well. So my husband's an architect by trade. And he knew he wanted to be an architect since he was 12. And most of us don't have that amazing, like, oh, I know exactly what I want early on. But he did, and he went for it, and he got his degree. But things didn't turn out the way he expected. You know, his career didn't take off the way he was expecting. And a lot of the time when that's happening, there's resistance in your life that you're not aware of. Maybe your path is slightly different than you think. And for Aaron, my husband, it turned out that was true. But he had that experience and that desire to build, okay, from an early time in life. And I won't go into what his wound is at this point, but we realized that the visions on our heart actually tied together in this really, really cool, synergistic, unique way for us as a couple. And I deeply believe that each couple probably has something like this where if his vision is red and your vision is yellow, you could together actually have this epic vision that's orange, just for an example. And so those visions together, and I've always been interested in personal growth and psychology. We kind of we dug really deep, and we prayed about this a lot, and we saw that our visions actually combined into this cool, hey, let's create Christian communities where we're bringing families together of like mind, where people can live, where people can fellowship. So that's our example. I believe that every single person that God has created has something like this on their heart. And our visions can change throughout our life, but I believe that there's something in you right now that maybe you've been ignoring, maybe you've been in denial about. Like, oh, I don't really want that thing. But maybe you've noticed it's resurfaced for a long time. Maybe you knew what your deep desire was when you were a kid. Like, oh, I want to be a doctor. And then you just kind of got off track, right? Thankfully, though, even if we get off track and we take these detours in our life, like I went to marketing school. I actually wanted to study psychology, but I went to marketing, business marketing, because that's what my dad said would be profitable. All right. So I'm like, okay, sure. You know, I took a path that maybe wasn't mine, and I could have made a different decision, but I didn't know what I do now. And God uses those detours in an amazing, brilliant way where it fleshes it all out, because now I'm able to use the stuff I've learned in marketing to enhance our business, enhance our vision together. So I'm sure that you can see these kind of connections in your life, you know, if you examine your own life. But what I really want to focus on is, what is that deep down desire that you've been suppressing or denying? Let it come out and examine it. Because I bet you there is something in there that God can use to be this amazing light and beacon to the world in your own unique way that you might not have been fully unleashing until now. Okay? So I just want to leave you with that today, that to examine that deep down desire and purpose in your life. I've done some courses on this for clients before, where we find your heart goals, but we won't get into that right now. But they're there, and you can really start taking action steps towards that deep down desire today. But the first thing is you got to find it and you got to acknowledge it. So with that, I'm going to leave you today. It's so nice to talk to you guys, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye.